You are listening to the Hodges Huddle, where we discuss all things in the wide world of sports. Here's your KLSU Sports team.
Welcome into the Hodges Huddle. I am your host, Michael Poggi, alongside my wonderful coworkers, Jayden Smith and Will Gilreath. Don't forget Alex Sheasley and Randall and Wilson helping us out with the switcher and producing today. This is our second pod of the semester. We're ready to keep this thing rolling. Y'all, how we doing? Fine Monday evening. little not a calm little Tuesday, but, a little chill little Monday. How about that?
What did you used to say?
I started trying to switch it up every week, like Magical Monday, Motivational Monday, Mundane Monday.
Mundane Monday.
Mondays are mundane though, so that checks out.
Well, it's a Monday, so
Yeah.
How you doing this? How you
man,
doing today, man?
the Joe Burrow news has me a little shook.
Yeah.
But it's a Monday, so I'm just trying to get by.
Hey, we got another week.
Yeah,
We got a big week
absolutely.
ahead, and we have a lot to discuss today
Yeah.
as we are going to talk about some LSU football and their performance this past week, as well as a little bit of NFL talk, mainly the Saints, and then go into a little bit of injuries if we have time, as well as talk about the tush push by chance if we have time at the end. But let's get right into it.
Yeah.
LSU versus Florida on Saturday night. The number 3 team in the nation, the LSU Tigers, defeated the Florida Gators 20-10 in the SEC opener for both teams. LSU now moves to 3-0 with that win for the first time, obviously, since 2019. So let's start things off with the good, the great, the perfect, whatever you want to call this LSU defense led by defensive coordinator Blake Baker, because holy, this LSU defense was pretty much perfect on Saturday night.
Yeah.
Picking off DJ Lagway 5 times. They let up 366 total yards, but were on the field for most of the game. So it's one of those things where you just kind of got to live with what you get.
Yeah.
But give me your initial takeaways from this defense and what you guys saw on Saturday, as well as just, not even Saturday, the last 3 games, because it's been perfect.
Man, it's a relief because I was just super happy to see them play the way they did in week 1, but it's such a relief to see that, no, that wasn't a fluke. Like, this defense is really that good. So
Consistency.
It's such a relief. I couldn't be happier. This is quite literally what we've been longing for, begging for to see during our tenure as students here at this school. So it's just refreshing to see, and it's exciting to see.
Yes.
Like the past 3 years, I haven't been able to be excited about us punting the ball because we have to watch the defense. I get excited about that now.
Yep.
Something
Exactly.
good's about to happen, right?
Yes.
Which is weird to say we get excited when we punt.
Yeah.
But I turn to my friends and I'm like, oh, it's time to watch this defense.
Yeah.
You're just you go to the game and you're ready to see an elite defense.
Yeah.
And it's something LSU hasn't seen in a while.
Yeah.
But you asked our biggest takeaway. My biggest takeaway is the takeaways.
Yes.
I mean, they're getting
No pun intended.
turnovers. And it's not like last year they got turnovers, but they didn't matter. This
Right.
year, they're big plays. They're game-changing plays.
And
And that's just what I want to see from an LSU defense. That's what you expect to see from what once was, and I guess is back to being
Yeah.
DBU.
Yeah, and we're going to talk a lot more about the takeaways, and I kind of have a little thought process of how we got those takeaways. But honestly, my biggest key takeaway that I was able to get out of this was kind of just how good this defense is all the way around. Whit Weeks he played
Two
drive,
snaps, yeah.
2 snaps, and it was just one of those things where you get Deshaun Spears going into that game, who really just flipped the switch. Then you get PJ doing his thing. We didn't, and we're gonna talk about this too. We don't even hear DJ Pickett's name, and he's just dominating all over the field.
Yeah.
And it's that is the biggest thing for me, is how kind of crucial the defense has been in crucial situations. They've just been so elite when they need to be elite. And, when Witt gets taken out of the game, West goes down, you start to get a little bit worried. Your big guys are, because when Perk went down last year, you kind of saw how the defense just transitioned and how the defense altered their play. Now it's like,
you have guys.
You have guys all over the place.
Yeah.
So that's my biggest thing.
Yeah, and I think that's just a testament, like you said, to the elitism, if you will, of this defense. I think that's the true marking of an elite defense. A great player can go down and there's other great players on the bench, like those Georgia 21 and 22 teams.
Right.
They had great defensive players all throughout that roster. And yeah, man, like just something that you're happy to see. And you said about, why they're creating these takeaways.
Right.
I mean, what I saw Saturday night was I saw guys, for one, being in position, being where they were supposed to be, not getting beat off their routes, and two, playing the ball.
Playing the ball, yes.
Like, the chances of you coming away with a takeaway or a turnover are much higher when you actually play the ball and don't just, panic and, let me just tackle them, right? So, look, we have aggressive guys on this team. We have guys who have good intangibles. Like, A.J. Halsey's intangibles are insane, bro.
And and that's something that's we're gonna get into that in 1 second. With just you have so much veteran presence.
Right.
Yes, you have so many guys who have been here before.
Yeah.
Like they've been in this situation. They've played the big down. No matter what conference or team or league they're in, they've been in that moment.
Yeah.
And that's something LSU hasn't really had over the last 4 years is the veteran aspect that, I've been there before, I make this play. Now it's all over the place.
Yeah. Well, and going back to what you said about, they're playing the ball, they're able to play the ball because they have guys that are doing the right thing.
Yeah.
The issue had been in years past, we think the defense is too overcomplicated. Well, you're playing SEC football at LSU. You need to know how to play football. It doesn't matter how athletic you are. If you don't know how to play football, like, your athleticism can only take you so far. And the experience allows them to all play football.
We got a bunch of football players, that's for sure. Obviously, Deshaun Spears named SEC Defensive Player of the Week.
Have a day.
Coming off the bench after LSU's Whit Weeks was thrown out of the game for targeting during the first possession of the game. Talk about his performance, obviously, 2 interceptions. And then just like I mentioned, the depth of the defense. Talk about, even and we saw Zach Weeks go in that game. Like we, you know what I mean? Just like there's so many guys that are on this team now where it's like, and I'm switching sports, but it kind of feels like the LSU outfield in baseball,
right?
Where you just have so many guys that you can plug in and plug out. Where there's so many, you know what I mean? Like, it's just depth, and that's the cool thing to see. So, what are your thoughts on that, and how far do you think this will take them?
Man, it'll take them as far as they want to go. I said last night. This is not last night. I don't know why I'm thinking it's the Sunday show. I said Saturday night. This is a national championship level defense. I think this is the best defense in the country. Now, maybe that's a little bit biased, but you're going to have a hard time finding a better defense to me, like from what I've seen these past 3 weeks. And it'll take them as far as they want to go. Now, obviously, we're going to get to the other side of the ball and how that may have its implications on the way the season ends up playing out. But
man, if you're holding a team to 10 points, you better win the football games.
And like you said, I think there's a strong case to be made that it's the best defense in the country because what other defense can say going into the season they played the 2 of the top 10 projected quarterbacks?
Yeah.
I
mean, Cade Klubnik and DJ Lagway, obviously they're not having the seasons everyone expected them to have, but they're still talented players.
Absolutely.
And LSU's still finding a way. I mean, I want to say they've given up a total of 27 points.
I was just about to 27
3
points
games.
over 3 weeks of football.
And you know how hard that is to do at any level?
Yeah.
Like
how happy that makes me?
And we weren't supposed to give up any points against LA Tech.
And really,
oh my gosh.
you can make the case to say that, like, you can
Yeah,
have an
right,
asterisk
right.
around there.
Right.
So, they just have the depth is all around. They have guys that want to go out there every play. And they're playing they believe in themselves. Like the Bayou Bandits. They believe in the Bayou Bandits. I think that was of all the things Blake Baker did, I think like getting them to buy into being a Bayou Bandit that takes a lot as a coach.
And the guys always talk, like during the player press conferences, they always talk about, like, especially the defense. They always just mention how, they're just more comfortable. They know exactly what they want to do. They know exactly how Blake Baker wants them to do it. Yeah. And it's that second year under Blake Baker. They've got an understanding. And so those guys that have been there, like, the past 2 years, they know now. And then the guys that have come in and transferred that were here for spring ball and fall ball and all that, fall camp, all that stuff, they understand. They know every rep. They can go. And I feel like last year, and even Witt will say this in player interviews, he'll say that last year it took us some time to, get in and get out and really understand what he wanted us to do. Now it's like clockwork.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Even against Florida last year, the game-sealing touchdown Florida had, you can watch the clip. Whit Weeks is standing there confused.
Yeah.
The entire defense was confused.
Yeah.
I don't think they've had a, outside of that Louisiana Tech touchdown, I don't think they've had a busted coverage, and I don't even consider that to be a busted coverage.
And they had most of the twos in at that point.
And
anyway.
it's just.
And I'm glad y'all brought those points up because I was just getting ready to say it felt like, years prior to this one, it just felt like we had a bunch of guys running around like chickens with their heads cut off.
Right.
Specifically, Harold Perkins. We could not figure out where we wanted Harold Perkins Jr. to be on this football field.
Right.
We knew he could make an impact. The question was just where. And they put him in so many different packages, and it just seemed like nothing was working. So, and like you said, Blake Baker getting them to buy into this Bayou Bandit thing. Like, to be a great defense, you have to have an identity. I don't care how talented or athletic you are. You have to have an identity. You have to have a certain style and a certain brand of football that you are accustomed to playing.
And you just see how much fun they're having out there.
Oh, yeah.
Like, just the amount.
Well, it's easy to have fun when you're doing what you're supposed to be doing. But
you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, it feels like, the 2018, 2017 Saints when they, when they were getting interceptions and going to the end zone. Like when they were all, after Cooley got the interception and they were all hanging, like that was, it felt good.
Yeah.
It felt good to just be a part of something like that.
And you see that it's not just the starters that are having fun.
Right.
It's all those guys, even if they're not getting the the reps they want. Like, I'm sure Ashton Stamps, it's very easy for a guy of his talent to sit there with his head down and be like, man, I'm not playing.
Right.
But he's still involved. Whit Weeks, when you get thrown out of a game on the first series, especially when it was how it went down, like, it's very easy to let your emotions get the better of you. And granted, he had he was frustrated, but then he immediately was like, okay, I still have a role that I'm the captain of this football team.
Yeah.
That it shows a sign of maturity that we haven't seen.
Yes.
And so they've all bought in, they all believe, they all have fun. And it's easier to do the little things right when you're willing to take that extra step.
Absolutely.
And speaking of doing the little things right, one guy who played one amazing game, but just hasn't been giving much praise from the media outside perspective. Not really. He's getting a lot of praise, but just not. You're not here. He's getting the inside praise. You're not just. He's not getting the superstar praise that he will be getting in a couple of years. But freshman DJ Pickett, man, obviously the ceiling interception at the end of the game, but just being everywhere defensively, off the ball, not letting the guy get open, almost seemed like he just wasn't even on the field. I remember me and my buddy were watching, we were watching the Clemson game, and then we were walking out of the stadium together, and he goes, dude, DJ Pickett didn't even play?
Yeah.
And I go, oh, no, he played. Oh, no, he played. And that's just how good he is. So how good has he been from y'all's point of view, and what do you expect out of him now that we know what he is all about moving forward?
I mean, I think this is the best cornerback they've had since Derek Stingley. And
Absolutely.
I know they have another guy in Mansour Delane that is just as good, and he's playing like a first-round pick. But DJ Pickett is a true freshman.
Yep.
And he's doing what he's doing. And let's not act like when you're 6'5", it's not easy to play corner when you're 6'5". You're probably going to be slower. He's not. When you have such a lengthy wingspan, it can get the better of you. It doesn't with him. He
uses it to his advantage every way.
It's like, to me, when you see DJ Pickett play football, it's just one of those things where he makes it look so easy, and it's not. But he plays the game to where you sit there and like, oh yeah, like how many freshman corners are there in the country where you can sit there and like not even worry that they're on the field.
I don't
Coaches
think I
have
haven't
heart
seen
attacks over
one
that.
since
Stingley.
Darius Stingley.
Yeah.
Jr.
Well, and the thing
Yeah.
about Stingley is you could argue he's one of the best high school players
Absolutely.
of all time.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Like I don't know if my numbers are right, but I'm pretty sure he had like 24 targets in his entire high school career, and 22 of them were interceptions.
So
So it's like
Wow.
one of those things where it's like
Yeah.
that's
Sometimes God just made you different, man. Sometimes God just made you better.
but I just think DJ Pickett, there's a sense of security there.
Absolutely.
And, I just talked about how sometimes when you have all that athleticism, you know, in high school, your athleticism can carry you a long way. When you get to college ball, you got to learn how to play the game.
Mm-hmm.
And he just makes it look easy.
Yeah. Like you said, I think DJ Pickett not only has all of the gifts from an athletic standpoint, but from a technical standpoint as well. A lot of players, they allow their athleticism and their athletic traits to kind of become a handicap to them because they typically have bad habits that they got away with in high school. But about DJ Pickett, man, so last season, in my estimation, I thought DJ Pickett was the most important prospect right behind Bryce Underwood. I thought he was the most important guy that we needed to get to sign that letter of intent. And I'm so glad we did because I knew he was going to be like the catalyst for bringing back DBU.
I completely agree because even when Moore decommitted and went to Oregon, like it didn't
phase me that much.
It didn't it hurt, but it didn't phase me to enough where like it's WRTS. Like they're gonna it's always gonna be there.
Yeah.
And with DBU, we need, like you said, we needed to bring that back, and he is bringing it back all the way
absolutely.
through.
And I wanted to point out, like, the play. It was the pick six that Deshaun Spears had. I gotta I rewatched that play over and over again, like just to see like
what
happened. Even the guy that Lagway was throwing to, DJ Pickett had that route covered. Like that ball was not getting there. Like it just so happened that Deshaun Spears, like I said, was playing the ball and jumped the route. And look what happens when you play the ball.
And you know what? Just because you said that, we're gonna move because this is exactly where I was headed. Blake Baker, man. Yeah. All I can just say is wow. Just been amazing over the course of the past 3 weeks. Like we said, forced 5 turnovers. And I talked at the tailgate show how important the turnovers are going to be on Saturday night. And, man, they won you the football game. But there were literally 2 turnovers, and one of them was the one that he just mentioned, where Blake Baker had it designed to literally bait DJ Lagway into throwing that football. Mm-hmm. Like, if you can watch back, there were 2 exact plays where he had him completely baited. He had the safeties back. He had guys there. He even the Pickett interception, threw it into triple coverage. But there was people were swarming the ball. We have ball hawks, and so that's where it's like Blake Baker knows exactly what he was doing. So how good has he been? How good's the play calling been? What were you expecting this? Because I'm in shock.
Pay him whatever.
That's what I'm. And oh man, don't even get. He's going to be the head coach of UCLA next year, and I don't even want to think about it.
Pay him whatever. Gordon, get it done. Get it done. Pay him whatever.
But yeah, what do y'all think, man?
Man, Blake Baker been baking. He been cooking.
He been cooking it up for sure
with these schemes and these different packages that he throws out there. And it certainly helps when you have the athletes to go out there and apply the tactics that you want to use. But ultimately, it's about putting the guys in the right position to make those plays.
At the right time.
We saw that with Matt House.
Yes.
So, but anyway,
just made my day even worse.
Nightmare.
Matt House Mondays. But no, man, Blake Baker's been doing a phenomenal job. I had a lot of hope when we did go and hire him, and I guess because I had no other option to, because I was so tired of that other defensive coordinator we had.
Yeah, man. And I think last year, I don't know about y'all, but last year it might have just been me jumping the gun, but it did worry me a little bit. I didn't know
the defense.
I just didn't really know what we needed to bring back, what we needed to, and what we needed to bring in for it to work for Blake Baker. And like I say all the time, it's a good thing they don't count on me and I don't get paid enough because they get paid enough to do what they need to do.
Well, and you could kind of tell in the offseason that they, when they made that commitment that they were going to attack the transfer portal, they got some guys on offense. But you could tell what the game plan was.
Yes.
It was to build this talent, this type of defense that can fit the Blake Baker system, that Blake Baker can take every guy he wants, and it's just like he's playing the game of chess. Yeah. But he all has queens. Like, like he can move anywhere he wants because he can do whatever he wants. It's a cheat code. Mm-hmm. When you have a defensive mind as brilliant as that, it's a cheat code.
I think the only thing that we haven't really seen is a guy like Marcel Reed coming into town yet. We haven't seen like that duel, like a little bit with Klubnik, a little bit with Lagway, but we really haven't seen the pure dual threat quarterback that has been an issue in the last few years. Mm-hmm. So the only worry that I have now is just that. And it's only because I haven't seen it.
And my only counter to that is that's where Harold Perkins comes in because he's healthy. And that's a guy that's playing football like he was in his freshman year. Mm-hmm. And, you're right. Like, LSU, if there's one spot the defense has struggled in, it's been with those quarterback runs. Klubnik took advantage of it. That's how they got their touchdown. Even, when Blake Baker, the quarterback, played for Louisiana Tech, he had a couple runs there. I just think he was trying to be nice. But I think that's where you can sit there and say, well, we have Harold Perkins. Because last year, they didn't have Perk when they played Marcel Reed. They had him when they played
Jalen Milroe.
Exactly. And that hurt them. But to have a guy like that, as long as you don't find a way to coach the talent out of a kid, because there's such a thing as overcoaching. Mm-hmm. And Harold Perkins has been overcoached for 2 years. His sophomore and his junior year, he was overcoached. And you could tell. If you can just let the kid go out there and let him play. Exactly, let him play. Let his talent shine. I'm not as worried as maybe I should be, but I think they have a specific game plan for that. Yeah. Because that cost them 3 games last year. Yeah.
100%. I think that's just the last hurdle not even hurdle, but I think that's just the last question that this defense has to answer. Like, how are we going to respond to deadly mobile quarterbacks?
And we're gonna find out very soon. Yeah. And that's the only worry that you can really have right now as an LSU fan when you're thinking about your defense. That's the only thing, and it's in that back of your mind. And the only reason it's in your back of your mind is because you've seen it kill you time and time again. And so it's just one of those things where you gotta remember it. Mm-hmm. You gotta forgive, but don't forget. You know what I mean?
I remember that Bama game. I was in the rain, soaking wet, and Jalen Milroe ran for 200 yards on us, man.
I sat through the whole game. I sang the alma mater.
Oh, I left.
I sang the alma mater. Yeah. It was I sat through the whole thing.
That was rough.
I'm gonna remember it when we beat them this year. I'm gonna take my sweet time in Bryant Denny.
But one more thing. Yeah. The other thing is, this defense can tackle, too. They're not missing as many tackles.
You know what? Thank you for mentioning that. Thank you. Keep going.
Well, I just think, you see that because last year, they missed the assignments, they missed the read, but more importantly, when they had the opportunity to make a touchdown-saving tackle, they missed it. Mm-hmm. And I don't know if that's lack of effort. I don't know if that's lack of technique. I don't know if they were just
It's a skill issue, man.
But it probably was. Issue. But they're not missing those tackles this year. They're wrapping up well, and it might take 3 or 4 guys to bring a guy down. I mean, these are Division I football players in the SEC. They're strong,
right? Yeah,
But as long as you can slow a guy down to where the next guy can come and knock him down, they're doing that this year, and they're not. I think it is an effort thing, actually. I think it is just showing how bought in this defense really is.
Well, let's move to the offensive side of the ball, where it again, like last week, just wasn't pretty. Yeah. But like I said last week, a win is a win. And Nuss was 15 of 27 with 220 yards, 1 touchdown, and another interception. The run game also had some struggles, 96 yards. while 55 of it came on like the last play of the game to really seal the deal. So what was the issue on Saturday, and what needs to change moving forward? As you know, we got some more tests coming up with Ole Miss, Vanderbilt. We like there's a bunch of tests on the rise. A&M's later on, but there's more coming. So what needs to change, man?
I mean, I think they just have to be a little bit more aggressive.
Yeah.
Like, I think their play calling and their aggressiveness needs to reflect the talent that they have on that side of the ball, man. You went into the transfer portal and you got all of this talent. I haven't seen Jelani Watkins' name called once, and we 3 weeks in. And I don't think I'm going to see it this Saturday. And he might be the fastest guy on this team. It's just little things like that, man. There were way too many 3rd and 1s Saturday night where we just played it way too safe, and just decided to run it up the middle. Like, I thought there were too many opportunities where they could have just let it loose a little bit. And now I guess we do have a little bit more context with, BK revealing Nuss's
minor
torso injury.
We'll talk about that more.
So
I
guess we have a little bit more context now as to why the play calling has been as conservative as it's been. But yeah, man, I just want to see them be just a little bit more aggressive. But I almost kind of feel guilty for feeling that way now knowing that Nuss is in fact dealing with a torso injury, because that does affect the way you throw the ball.
And you said it, man. Like yesterday in the Sunday show, you said it just because like. We've seen Nuss throw the deep ball, and that deep ball against LA Tech, it just didn't look right. And you said, maybe there's some injury.
Yeah.
There is some injury. But,
to me, it goes back to some of the same issues we saw last year. And I don't, maybe I'm a little paranoid because how many times have we seen LSU have an elite defense and they were held back by the offensive play calling specifically?
A lot.
It feels like, I'm not trying to compare this to 2011 or 2012, 2015. I'm not trying to compare it to that. But
hey, I might.
That
defense looks like 2011. I might do it.
I'm getting to the point where it's almost now or never. And to their point, they are winning games. If the goal is to go 1-0 every week, then you do what you have to do to go 1-0 every week.
Yeah.
But if you want to win a national championship, you're going to need the offense to step up. You're going to need to stop with these conservative plays. I'm tired of seeing them throw the ball behind the line of scrimmage on a 3rd down.
Mm-hmm.
I don't need to see it thrown to the sticks. I just need to see it, an effort.
I agree.
Made.
And that's another thing I was going to mention. Like it's like we're just playing east to west.
Right.
We're just playing sideline to sideline. Just trying to move the chains as it is, and that works, man. But I just there's so much more that this offense could be doing.
And that's where like I've always thought, and I said this last year. Like last year, I was not the highest person on Garrett Nussmeier, and I will say that
right.
however loud I need to. I was not very high on him, but one thing I always said was he was great in between the lines. In between those lines, he was phenomenal. Throwing that ball up the middle in the last 2 minutes when he needs to be clutch, he was clutch. And so he made, you know what I mean? Like, and throwing it up the middle, that's where he made his money. That's how him and Aaron Anderson made a connection. Mm-hmm. And you have so many guys with that speed with Xavion. That's how he scored the touchdown to Xavion up the middle. And so I think you just have so many route runners and you have so many guys that can make guys miss right off the jump, and getting that quick ball up the middle, or I think the middle of the field is where they need to attack more. And they haven't been doing it as much this year as they did last year. And I think last year that's where they found most of their success, was throwing that ball up the middle. And we just haven't seen that.
And I mean, to me, another thing is they're coming out of the game too slow.
Yeah.
Like, offenses, I don't know a single team in the country. Their first 15 plays they have scripted out.
Yeah.
LSU's first 9 plays, I think they had like 4 total yards. They went 3 straight 3-and-outs to start a game.
Yeah.
If you don't have a defense like you do, that hurts you. Or if
Absolutely.
you give up a big play, that hurts you.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you need to come out and attack the middle field. And Kelly talked about it in his press conference. I think we need to get Chris Hilton more involved in
Yes.
the vertical passing game.
I mean, no kidding.
I mean, you saw what happened last year in the bowl game when you did that.
Yeah.
He caught, what, 2 touchdowns, 3 touchdowns?
You're going to be able
Like-
to, you have the guys, and you're going to be able to find that. So let's move on. Nuss, of course, was announced, as you said, today. He has a minor torso injury. But to keep it very simple, he just hasn't been great.
Yeah.
Had a good second half against Clemson, but other than that, we've only just seen bits and pieces, like I said. So are you worried about his play as of late?
I don't think that his play is the issue.
Are you worried about his health then?
I am long term. No, I'm not. I think Garrett Nussmeier will remain healthy. I don't want to jinx it,
Right.
but I don't think that is an injury I don't think his injury is the reason we've seen them as slow as they are.
Then while I have you, let me
Uh-huh.
ask you this. Do you sit Nussmeier this week?
I do not.
Start Van Buren
No,
against an SELA? No?
I don't, and here's why. This is their last tune-up game before they hit that stretch. This
Okay.
is their last out-of-conference game before, and what I want to see them do is I want to see them blow the brakes off of Southeastern so that he can rest in the second half. But I want to see them go out and get everything they want to, tweak everything they need to. I want to see them take those chances over the middle of the field. I don't care if he throws for 5 touchdowns and 4 interceptions, because this is a defense that if you do turn the ball over 4 times, you feel comfortable that they're going to get
Yeah.
those stops.
You don't want to keep him on the
No,
field
you
as
don't.
much as
And-
you
and
had
I'm
him
not-
last.
Sorry, I wasn't trying to say I want them to
No, you're
throw those
good.
4 interceptions, but I want them to work everything out. But I want him to rest. Every game Garrett Nussmeier has started, he has had to finish.
I agree.
Last year, they did not play Ricky. They played A.J. Swan the one drive he had to go in.
Mm-hmm.
They played Ricky Collins the one play he had to go in. Kelly clearly does not want to play the backups.
No.
He hasn't shown that, even in blowouts. And so I don't want to see
Even when they
him-
lost to Bama.
Even when they lost to Bama. I want to see Nuss go out there and work. Him and Joe Sloan, you talked about this on the Sunday show after Louisiana Tech. They just don't look coordinated, between the coaches and the players. I want them to go out and fix all of that.
Okay.
And I don't care if it takes you 3 turnovers. I don't care how many mistakes you make. Win the game. You have to win the game. Sorry. Win the game. I'm not saying I want them to play
This
bad.
is a Southeastern that didn't score a single point
Right.
against Louisiana Tech.
Win the
Let's keep
game.
that.
But go out and work what you need to out, because when you play Ole Miss, you're gonna need to Ole Miss is gonna score some points. They're not the Ole Miss of last year, but they're still gonna score.
Mm-hmm.
So go out, work what you need to, and then put yourself in a position where he doesn't have to play 60 minutes.
Yes.
Boy, I'm fired up. No, I totally agree. And I think because you really put it in perspective, saying this is their last tune-up game. Like this is it. We can't afford to go into Mississippi looking like we don't know what we're doing on offense. I promise
can't.
you, if I have to watch another first drive of ours end in a 3-and-out, I'm gonna be sick.
Yeah.
This is it. This is the last chance to work all of the kinks out. This is the last chance to get Nuss into some type of rhythm, because that's another thing. I don't think Nuss has really been able to get into a consistent rhythm of throwing the ball across the middle. And I think that's also playing a big factor into why this play calling has just seemed so sporadic at times.
Yeah, and it's weird because, we're about to talk about the run game and why that's struggled, but it's weird because the offensive line didn't give up a single sack against Florida.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's not like the offensive line's playing bad. They're actually playing pretty good football, especially for a pretty much new offensive line in the fact that they've playing together and all that stuff. So in that sense, you have to be kind of a little bit impressed with just the way they've been playing. But then obviously one thing that we saw on Saturday was just how they tried to switch up that run game a little bit and how they tried to involve Juwan Johnson in the game a little bit more. I saw 3 straight consecutive handoffs to him and just trying to get him into the run game. But it didn't work as planned, obviously. And in a game where they struggled running the ball, especially as of they've been struggling to run the ball a little bit, but even when they stopped, when they were able to switch something, they were giving the ball to Xavion, putting Xavion in the run package. Xavion didn't have one play in the run package.
Or Barrion Brown.
Or Barrion. And so that's where it's like, why do you think that is? And do you think they need to kind of continue to go back to what's working for them? Or do you like the fact that they're trying to extend all pieces of their run game?
I like it because you have the weapons, so, maximize the usage that you can get out of them. But once again, you have to find a consistent identity within this offense. I'm not sure why they haven't been able to run the ball. And like you always say, I don't get paid enough to know. I don't get paid enough to diagnose.
It's gonna be my quote
issue.
by the end of the year. We're just gonna have me. I might as well put it in the bio.
Yeah. Put it on the TV. I don't get paid enough.
I don't get paid enough, man. And it's kind of a mystery because, like you said, this offensive line has been playing relatively well. Like Nuss has had, a good amount of time back there to throw the ball.
Yep.
And I'm really not sure. And I don't know, maybe it's because too many of the runs are starting behind the line of scrimmage Caden Durham has to actually build up that speed to turn upfield. Like maybe that has something to do with it. I don't know. And that could be why when you saw them get into the power I formation, he was able to just cut straight up and get right into his second-hand speed. So maybe that has something to do with it. I don't know, man. But that's definitely a problem that needs to be corrected. Hopefully it'll be corrected this Saturday against Southeastern.
And that power eye is something I want to see more of, actually. Yeah. Because you could see when they put their guys on the line, they had one job, and that was to beat your guy, and they did. And that's how Caden Durham was able to go. So I just want to see them. I want to see Harlan Berry only had one touch. I want to see them get more guys involved, but I want to see them not I just want to see them be more productive. Yeah, I know that's an easy thing to wish for, but
well, really quickly, who just needs to play better for this offense moving forward? Obviously, Nussmeier needs to play better, but what do you want to see more out of, and who do you want to see improve the most in this next week jump against SCLA?
Chris Hilton, man. All of this, I don't even want to say hype, but I mean, when you purchase your student tickets, he's on the cover of them. They don't put the bad players on the cover. Like he's the longest tenured receiver on this team, man. And I promise you, like if you didn't just follow LSU football, you wouldn't know that. You'd have no idea.
You would have no clue.
You would have no clue. You've got to sit behind 2 first-round receivers who both had 1,000 yards last year, and you had a chance to sit behind Kyron Lacey, man. Like you are supposed to be the guy now. I'm not understanding why I'm watching LSU offense, and I can't even tell if you're on the field or not. I need to see Chris Hilton be involved in some way, shape, fashion, or form. And I know he hasn't gotten a bunch of the opportunities, but when you do get the opportunities, he's not even doing anything with those.
I agree. I agree.
Like, I just need to see Chris Hilton. I need to see him just turn up, man. Like, you just got to turn up.
Yep.
Mine's Nick Anderson because I was really frustrated with the lack of usage a guy like C.J. Daniels got last year.
Yeah.
And to me, Nick Anderson is their C.J. Daniels this year. And I
agree.
He is so talented, and there was so much hype around him, and you just don't use him enough. Same with Chris Hilton.
Yeah.
He's a guy that hasn't gotten the opportunity. And I think if you just open the playbook up and you just throw the ball up the middle of the field or you let us sling it, those guys will then get their opportunity to shine because they're talented.
I promise you they're talented.
I promise you. This wide receiver core has the potential to be one of the most talented in the country.
I agree, man.
But you would think they're bottom of the SEC with how they're playing right now.
And I talked about it at the tailgate show. I just especially with Trades Green being out, you want to see him, and we don't know how long he's going to be out. He was doubtful, so we don't know how that progression is going to look for him on the injury report. But he's that next big guy. He's that next mismatch kind of player that you have. And I'd like to see, like you said, more usage out of him. You didn't bring him in and pay him to not give him the ball.
Yeah.
So give him the ball. But that's enough Tiger football for the week. But moving to the NFL, we got we got some time to talk some Saints football. As the NFL, the Saints lost once again, this time to the 49ers at home.
Once again.
26-21. Yeah, we're going to be saying that a lot this year. Although it brings the Who Dat Nation to an 0-2 start, there are some signs of improvement. There's some good things to be happy about, especially from the offensive side of the ball. So Spencer Rattler won 25 of 34, 207 yards, and 3 tutties. Not a bad performance from this young quarterback. What were your thoughts on Rattler's performance? And, is it too early to ask the question if he's this next quarterback for the Saints?
I think it's a little too early for that, but I thought he looked really good Sunday night or Sunday afternoon. I thought he looked really good. I thought he looked really comfortable, and he was 25 of 34, but he was actually 28 of 34 because there were like 3 drops, including a touchdown that Olave just I don't know what's going on with him. But I thought he looked really good. I thought he looked really comfortable, and he looked really affirmed in the throws and the decisions that he wanted to make with his legs and with his arm. So as long as I continue to see that from him, I think the Saints will be, at very least, they'll be watchable.
I think it's the best game he's played so far in his career,
easily.
by far.
Yeah.
I think he needs some help, though, especially with your guys like Chris Olave and Jawan Johnson. You want to see them make those plays.
And that's where, we piggyback on that. The quarterback room in college football has been getting some backlash with just how talented they were, rated going into this season and how stacked the kind of draft was supposed to be coming up, especially in the quarterback room. So do the Saints now give a guy like Rattler a chance? Let him see what he's able to do this next year, and then maybe use that first-round pick and go and try and get a receiver of some sort, trade up, go and get somebody that you can really get used to and just, work around Rattler. Because, look, one good game is is a little bit too soon to say, yes, this is our guy.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, this is light. This is something that we haven't seen in a long time. Even when we had a Derek Carr, it felt like mediocre after mediocre after mediocre. And I think if you're the Saints and you have a guy like Rattler who's young and has a lot to improve and a lot to grow, you're better off with doing that and adding some pieces around than trying to go and get like a Drew Aller. And if you know who I am, you know how I feel about Drew Aller. But it's, what I'm saying? So that's where I ask you, what do you guys think about that?
Well, go ahead, I just think that was the plan maybe all along. And the reason I say that is because we know Mickey Loomis. He's never been the guy to take a quarterback. Even when the obvious option is the quarterback there, he's never been a guy to do it.
Right.
And they drafted Chuck 40th overall. And so I don't know, what the plan is with Chuck. But, for me, I think that would be their best case moving forward. Because let's not forget who's coaching Spencer Rattler.
Yeah,
Kellen Moore. Who's a brilliant offensive mind.
Yeah.
And Doug Nussmeier. Look at Jalen Hurts. I mean, did anyone expect Jalen Hurts to be a Super Bowl winning quarterback when he was in college? No.
Absolutely not.
And now he's one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL. I'm not saying Spencer Rattler is that, but I'm saying that this is an ideal situation for Spencer Rattler to be in right now, minus the talent around him.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I agree with both of you guys. I think that's definitely the most sensible option, and also think it's the safest option because, like as you said, that this quarterback draft class has not so far lived up to its expectation. It's supposed to be the holy grail of quarterbacks, and I haven't really been impressed with none of them, to be honest with you. But I was impressed with Spencer Rattler this Sunday, and I think if he can continue to build on that and just keep building rapport with this offense, and he made some great throws Sunday, man. He made some really great throws,
and it's bright spots.
Yeah.
As a Saints fan, it's been hard to sit down on Sunday and turn on the television and be, you kind of loved bye weeks, you know what I mean? But it's like now maybe,
maybe it ain't so bad.
Maybe at least you're gonna watch decent football, you know what I mean? And it's like I think that is the biggest thing is just seeing that improvement, especially from a team that is obviously in full rebuild mode.
And lastly, I just want to say, through these 2 weeks, I know the Saints are 0-2, but through these 2 weeks, Spencer Rattler has put the Saints in position both times to win
the
both
football
of those games.
To win
and
the football game.
That's all I can ask for.
And you look back to last week where that was. I think
that was
that's
a
the best
touchdown.
ball he's
yeah.
thrown all season.
Yeah, it was
that
in
was
his
a touchdown.
hands.
It was in his hands.
Yeah.
Buda Baker made a great play.
Yeah,
You know,
exactly.
and sometimes that happens. It's the NFL.
And
So.
it's a good thing to me that like you said, in the last 2 weeks, it's come down to the last play. Of the game. And like it was 4th down and the most Saints way to end a football game. But like, don't even get me started on Cesar Ruiz. But let's move on real quick before we're done. Early thoughts on Kellen Moore, and then after that, give me your record prediction for the Saints. Moving on.
For the Saints?
Yep.
Oh, you gotta put me on the spot with that one, man. I'll go 7-10. I think this team can be 7-10. And as far as the offense,
And you think Kellen Moore and his, and the way he's been coaching, you think
I feel pretty good about it. Look, man, I definitely didn't have high expectations coming into this season. So from what I've seen through these 2 weeks, like I've seen more than I thought I was going to see. That I can tell you. I did not expect us to score as many times as we did, and I didn't expect us to be in positions to win both of these ball games. So, I mean, Kellen Moore is doing something right. It's just those last little bits we got to figure out. Apparently.
I think if the Saints go 7-10, I think I'd take it as they won the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
And that's like I'm not.
Yeah.
Like I love that belief that you have.
Yeah.
I don't have that.
No, I don't
think
either.
they would be lucky to win 5 games.
Yeah.
I think
5?
I think they would be very lucky to win.
Yeah,
5
I was.
games.
I have 4 as well.
I would even go as low as saying 3, because
I don't think we're going.
I think, but
Well, I mean, 3 is close to 4.
Yeah, I know, but like I'm just trying to.
It's better than 6 or 7.
Let's see here. Like, jeez, we're just clip farming every week. I think.
Yeah.
Like they're not beating the Bills on the road. And
they're gonna start 0-4.
Like, yeah, it's gonna be a tough stretch, and their schedule's not easy. And in the NFC South is it's come up as well. So I don't know. I think
right as we decide to get bad.
Right. I think a 4-win team is probably what we'll see out of this. But as long as they just continue to try and improve, and just, as long as we see some bright spots in the offense, the defense is always going to do its thing. It's just the identity that they have.
I'm really impressed with Brandon Staley.
Yes.
I think,
yes.
Kellen Moore too. Like, there's some growing pains when you're a first-year head coach. The halftime timeouts, last week, but I don't think that's been the issue. I just think you just don't have a talented enough roster.
Yeah,
I agree.
Man, it's just crazy how differently we talk about the Saints now, man.
It's crazy.
Like, we just
it
take what we
sucks.
can
It
get.
hurts.
But to your point, like when you have low expectations,
makes your life
I
a lot
just
better
go in
when
there
good
and I
things
can
happen.
enjoy watching Spencer Rattler right now because I'm getting more than what I expected.
Yeah.
Hey, they just need to keep giving my guy Rashid Shaheed the ball, man. They need to give my ball.
I need those
Shaheed,
points,
man. Yeah. But anyways, I think that's gonna do it from here for us today. Here in the John Frisha podcast studio for this semester's second episode of the Hodges Huddle. Big thanks to Will and Jay, as always, for joining me on here today and the work that y'all do, as well as Alex and Randall and helping out, doing their thing, producing this show. Thank you, the viewer, for tuning in, and we will see you guys next week. I'm Michael Poggi, and this has been the Hodges Huddle.